So we have heard a lot about engagement. We're engaging students through technology. We're engaging students through looking at better instructional practice by having demonstration coaches. So really what we're talking about is hope. We're talking about letting kids dream. We're talking to them about think your future, plan your future. And this is a but. Access without preparation is a false promise. And we cannot do that. We cannot ask students to dream. We cannot give them hope and not also give them the academic foundations to be successful. And so you've heard a lot about college readiness today. We've been talking about that. And we have been talking about academic skills. Because if students are college ready, they're life ready. And so if some of you have been thinking, but wait a minute, not all students at CPS may want to go to college. You're right. You're right about that. But it will be their choice, not because they could not. And so as we started thinking about that, are students ready? How do we answer that question? This graphic comes from the Higher Education Research Institute at UCLA. And what is very striking when you look at the 4-, 5-, and 6-year degree attainment rates across all groups, no one's graduating with an over 50% rate in any socioeconomic group. And what's not on the slide, but what is in the research study, is it's because so many students need remediation. So many students are graduating, but they're really not academically ready. And what's not also on this slide, think about students pursuing the military. Because you also now, you're taking ASVAB, you're looking at wanting to qualify for officer training. Can you, if you don't have the academic skills? And what about those students who want to pursue those career certificates? The same skills that you need to be successful in college, you need for that as well. So when we started looking at that research and we started saying, all right, we want students to choose their future, that must be grounded in academic rigor. So then we said, what really matters? And this comes from the State of College Admissions Report from the National Associations of College Admissions Counselors. And here's what became clear, because these types of things came up in all of the research that we looked at. And we also are benchmarking ourselves not only against other local school districts, we're benchmarking ourselves against the nation, and we're looking at what matters. And you'll notice that grades in college prep courses and strength of curriculum have been identified by the State of College Admissions Report are of the things that truly predict if students are going to be successful. It's not just an SAT or an ACT score anymore. Do we have the rigor? The technology piece is engaging kids. It's 21st century skills, but the level of rigor that they're exposed to also has to match. So we looked at some partners, and one partner we identified was the College Board. Now, some of you may be saying, now, hang on, aren't they just the SAT people? That organization has grown to be so much more. The nonprofit arm of College Board offers many different programs. We've heard about the increase in dual enrollment and AP for the district. So when we really started looking at what College Board provides when we think about the AP pathway, because College Board is also the advanced placement company, we really then said, okay, if we're going to increase AP and we're going to increase rigor, how does that benefit students? Well, one thing it does, remembering the first graphic I offered you, if a student engages in an AP course, the increased probability of their college graduation compared to students who do not is significant. Even more significant, let's talk about Ohio. So one thing you may say, all right, these students, we're giving them access. They are in AP classes. Kevin Keene, who is our blended learning AP teacher, talked about how the students and he have grown together. Well, students don't have to get a 5 on the AP exam for this to benefit them. As a matter of fact, students who get a 1 are 2 to 6 percentage points higher to graduate on time from college. So when we talk about AP, it's not just about earning that college credit. It's about giving kids that rigorous foundation to fulfill their dreams, even if they don't pursue the college path. The other thing that we look at when we looked at our partnership with College Board is support for teachers. There's a supplemental product called SpringBoard. We actually used it in our Algebra 1 classes this past year with math. But this offers not only content and teacher professional development, it gives us a base for establishing instructional practices and really making sure our curriculum is hitting that rigor that it needs to. Now for ELA and for math, we'll continue to offer the SpringBoard supplement next year in grades 6 through 12. But I don't want you to think that social studies and science have been left out. This slide really could have been titled the College Board Difference, because as we expand AP access, we're also training teachers in how to deliver that curriculum. That's not all. We also need a course catalog that students, that parents, that our teachers and administrators can go to. You know, we have a rich history as high schools of choice here at CPS, and we don't want to give up that history. But we also have to make sure that there is a baseline, no matter where you choose to attend high school in the district, that you are getting that same level of curriculum and academic rigor. And so as we looked at our pathways, we identified two things that are very important. One is that we are measuring and ensuring that every student is developing certain core competencies, because remember, academic skills are life skills. So things like goal setting, functional writing, learning how to network, reflection, meeting deadlines, these are all core competencies. And in grades 7 through 12, we are building into the curriculum these as the things that underpin our lessons so that students are college ready. They're ready for life. So we've identified these competencies. What are the experiences that need to be embedded in the curriculum that help students develop those competencies? Well, obviously it needs to be authentic, real-world experiences, work-based learning projects, interweaving all of that through the academic experience. In the upper grades, we're looking at things like career exploration, resume writing, digital portfolios, everything so that students are practicing skills they'll need no matter what their post-secondary plans are. They're engaged and they're ready to pursue their future. As we stated in our core beliefs, every student is talented. We realize that beyond a rich academic base, we also need to plan to meet the needs of all students. Sometimes that will be through personalized learning supports. And so I'm happy to introduce Kevin Jamison from Student Services, who will talk to you about that.
We have a course catalog that we're going to outline that will offer all of the supports that we have available in our high schools. And so that will also include personalized learning supports. In our research on personalized learning supports, there are 3 core areas that we identified that need to be a part of our My Tomorrow personalized learning plan. The first is student needs, and addressing their learning needs so that they can become strong learners. Also, addressing students' interests so that they can focus on their college and career path. And then third, student strengths, and building those strengths so that we can have them contribute to the community. So our initial goal basically involves identifying 2 pieces. Number 1, doing a needs assessment across all of our high schools to determine what supports are currently in place. But then secondly, outlining those supports so that in the course catalog you will be able to see what each high school offers. Our team members are outlined below, and our biggest component of the team is the principals, in terms of their contribution, in terms of supports that benefit students. Examples of personalized learning that are already associated with My Tomorrow include advisory team and Naviance. Naviance is a key component focused on developing career paths for students. And then also our school-based mental health centers address individual needs of students and help them contribute to the community. Our focus for the 2015-16 school year, for example, will be looking at strengthening our credit recovery systems in each of our high schools, and then also looking at intervention courses that help students develop their skills and be able to get more out of AP courses and dual enrollment courses. And then for our 2016-17 school year, a big focus is on graduation remediation. As you know, the graduation requirements are in the process of changing, and students will have to meet more rigorous criteria to graduate. And so putting in effective plans that help them in that process will be a focus in this area as well. We're also going to be looking at outcome measures. As you know, our local report card focuses on our progress with graduation rate, and our annual measurable objectives look at students with disability subgroups, English language learners, as well as students who are economically disadvantaged. And so our hope through this process is to make significant impact in those areas in terms of student growth. One of the things that we've been able to do in the last couple of months is to conduct an insight survey of all of our high schools to find out what supports are currently in place, and that will help us, as I mentioned before, create a needs assessment to figure out where we can establish equity across the high schools for personalized learning supports, but also to begin to outline an initial district framework